Hey everybody, welcome to the next episode of Jedi vs. Society. We're going to be talking about loneliness and depression. Let's get into it. Now, before I begin, this is going to sound a little bit like a YouTube ad because I'm going to be pushing my own book here for just a second. Please bear with me, it's important and it relates to this topic, and it's the situational Jedi. I usually have it sitting up somewhere over here, but I wrote this book specifically to address questions like this. How do we as Jedi handle loneliness? How do we handle heartbreak? How do we handle depression, anxiety, all these things? I wrote this book specifically for that. And what it has in it per chapter, like if you're talking about depression, it has Jedi quotes. What does our fiction say about these topics? And my own pontification on that. And then it has our Jediism stuff, like what does the 33 teachings have to say about that? What does the Jedi Circle have to say about that topic? And then I have my own experience or my own output, my own viewpoints on that, and I discuss kind of that subject and my own experiences with it. This is something I recommend. It's tangible. Whether you get it in ebook or paperback is up to you, but it's something you can hang on to. And any time in life when you're experiencing those issues or questions or problems, at least you have something that you can kind of like fall back to, and you don't have to wait for me to make a video about it, right? This is what I recommend in all honesty in relation to that. But I'm still going to answer this question, so let's get into it. I'm going to tackle this instead of depression. I'm going to tackle loneliness, because it's a very tough one. That's a very tough thing to sit with and deal with. But these two things really relate. And what it really comes down to is keep to the basics. Build foundation, weather the storm, and proceed forward. Now, when we talk about keeping to the basics, it means keeping to your 5 main practices as a Jedi. And that's physical fitness in whatever capacity that you're able to do that, right? That's meditation. That one's going to be really core, especially when it comes to brain stuff and emotional stuff. Meditation practice is really core. So you want to set up these kind of practices. Awareness, self-awareness, awareness of your environment, awareness of what's going on around you. It's very important to that because there might be mitigating factors and things that are impacting you, triggers that are happening within your life that you'll need to address. Then you have diplomacy, because it comes down to communication, right? Diplomacy comes down to communication and working on how we communicate with others, how we communicate with ourselves. Be nice to yourself. I understand the mean voice in the head, but be nice to yourselves, right? And then lastly, we have self-discipline, which is core, and that's mainly making our practices happen on the good days. And that is building the foundation. We build the foundation on the good days. This is when life isn't so bad and we're not feeling so horrible that we can build those foundations. And it seems really easy to do our meditation, our physical fitness, and all that. Our Jedi practices seem like really easy to do, and that's when we can get complacent. But we're building that foundation. We're building the habits for the bad days. So these are things and practices we can rely on in the bad days. The important thing about that, and both of these, keeping to the basics and building the foundation, is this lesson. And that is, when life gets the hardest, when we least want to follow the Jedi path, that is when they are most valuable, and that is when they'll have the greatest impact on your life. So you really have to you have to use that self-discipline to really kind of come through with it. You're gonna miss days of meditation, you're gonna miss days of working out or whatever you're doing with physical wellness. There's gonna be days your diplomacy is not gonna be great. That's okay. Just keep to the basics and build that foundation. Next, when you're dealing with loneliness, I want you to sit with it. I want you to dig into yourself. What we're doing here is we're weathering the storm. In my depression video, I talk about giving a little ground in order to come back. Sometimes you have to give a little ground. Sometimes you have to put your hands up and just recognize where you're at. You're not getting stuff done. That's fine. It's okay. Acceptance is peace. Accept it, understand it, and then come back. And then you're going to move forward. You're going to proceed forward. You're going to give some ground. You're going to give it up, and then you're going to proceed forward. If you look at our newest hyperspace meditation, I talk about depression and kind of giving up 3 days there, so you can read that in the description box. Kind of gives an example of it, right? Now, Now, loneliness is a tough one, right? But the way that you're gonna work through that is understanding that social wellness is core to us, right? We have physical wellness, we have emotional wellness, intellectual wellness, spiritual wellness, and social wellness. These are the 5 areas of wellness that are really core to the Jedi Path and really impact our lives. Now, with social wellness, the way, if you want to build that up, if you're looking for companionship, the way to build that up, the way to earn that is to work on yourself and really dig into the self, accept the self. You have to accept who you are right now. You have to accept where you're at right now, and then accept who you want to be. And then accept the challenge of getting from here to there. Accept that challenge, because it's going to be a road. But dig into yourself. What are you passionate about? What do you love? What's a fandom? And then dig into it. Be a part of it. Learn something. Build yourself something. Really build yourself up with knowledge and information, and really just work on the self, right? Self-awareness. Awareness, that core part. Sit with it. So if you're feeling that way, sit with it. Keep to the basics. Build your foundation. Be a Jedi, but build up. Build from there. Accept the challenge to be something more, to get to where you want to be. If you're looking for companionship, if you want to end loneliness, right? If that's your goal, build the self. Build the relationship with the self. Once you're good with you, once you're good with your time, once you're good with where you are at in life, once you've accepted that, and being good with where you're at doesn't mean you're giving up or complacency. That's not the Jedi way. A lot of people fall into that stagnation, but that's not what the Jedi are talking about. Jedi are being like, be good with yourself so that you can build to the next level. Be good with yourself and build to the next level, and keep moving forward. Accept that challenge to proceed forward. You'll be amazed what that brings into your life. The more you are good with yourself, the more people, the more society, the more all of it sees it, accepts it, and wants to be a part of it. They are attracted to that self-assurance, that self-knowledge, the understanding of, you know who you are, you know your triggers, you know where you're at, you know where you want to be, you know you're not there yet, but you're going to work towards it, and you're working towards it. That will make all the difference. So that's my 2 cents on how you combat loneliness. It's a tough one. Don't get me wrong. It's really tough. I've experienced it. It's really tough. But again, pick up the Situational Jedi. It should prove useful for these kind of topics, or at least I hope it does, right? That's the reason I wrote it. But results may vary, right? So I hope that answered your question. Of course, if you have more questions, you can leave them in the comments below. I appreciate all of you. You know where the buttons are. May the Force be with you.
We like to think we have some form of control still, making our constant binary choices and voicing our equally shallow opinions more loudly or quietly. Most people can't even decide what color to wear or which burger to eat. What does it matter, man?